Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world. Talking about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so talked about the defense yesterday. Today, it's all about the offense. Now, before the season started, a lot of us, including myself, were like, dude, this offense is going to be chill. Don't worry about it. The offense is going to be fine. We're going to be rocking. We got a lot of weapons for Geno. Geno's a solid dude. The defense is a little suspect. I don't know what's going to happen. And the season starts, and it's the exact opposite. The defense is killing it. They're one of the best on third down. They're one of the best in giving up points. They're I think, the best at second half points. And their offense is a little bit up and down. Well, we need to get right. This is going to be a get-right game for the offense against the Commanders. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game whatsoever, but the Commanders are primed to get popped at home. Wouldn't that be crazy? We play two great games on the road and win, and we get home and we take a clunker at home. This team, rooting for the Raiders isn't fun. It's not easy, okay? But we do it because we love it. So, first thing I want to do, I want to go ahead and take a look at Dan Quinn, the head coach and default defensive coordinator, and see what some of his tendencies are, what his defenses look like. The main things we look at with a Dan Quinn defense, okay? First off, he's got an aggressive front. A lot of twists, a lot of games up front. That's going to be a little bit of an issue for our offensive line because we haven't shown that we can really handle those really well. It doesn't matter who it is. Jackson Powers-Johnson, Alex Kappa, Jordan Meredith, Dylan Parham. The guards and the center, they haven't done a good job of working and playing these stunts and playing these loops and these twists. And this stuff is just not working, especially on the interior. And look for the Commanders to really do a lot of games up front because Dedrick Wise out for the season. He tore his quad, and he's going to be gone. He's one of the main guys up front. So they don't have a lot of pressure on the edges. They're going to have to create it up the middle. And they're going to want to do that by playing games up front with the defensive line. We have to be equipped for that and ready for that and know how to handle it. On top of that, Ashton Jeanty needs to be in that playbook. He needs to have his head down. He needs to be more of a protector like he was in week 1 and not so much like he was in week 2. We need Ashton Jeanty in this offensive line to give Geno Smith time to select the right read before he throws it. No forcing the ball, okay? Now, another characteristic of a Dan Quinn defense is multiple fronts. He plays 3-4, plays 4-3, he plays whatever he feels like because he knows he has the linebackers to be able to do it. He can get a linebacker, make him an end. He can make an end a linebacker. He got a lot of guys he can mess around with. He's going to try to confuse up front. Very rarely is the pre-snap look, the pre-snap read going to match the post-snap look. That's one of the things that Dan Quinn does is he tries to confuse, not anything extravagant, but the look doesn't match what you see after the snap. So we have to be patient in this offense this week coming up. We can't just be pre-selecting a read, pre-snap, and going for it. That's what Geno Smith was doing. He's like, I'm going to send it to this dude, and here we go. That didn't work out so well. We have to be on our P's and Q's. We have to mind our business when we play against this defense because they could confuse you if you rush it. Okay, the next thing is zone heavy. Dan Quinn, really big zone team, okay? That was not good for Geno Smith. He likes the one-on-ones on the outside. He likes those one-on-one matchups. He likes to exploit it with his accuracy in his arm. He needs to be patient against this defense. If this defense, what the both teams have been doing so far, okay, the reason why the Patriots stopped playing that shell zone, that too deep, is because Ashton Jeanty, when he got the ball, was ripping it for a lot of long runs. So they started bottling him up, and that gave us a little bit more room on the outside. We have to be able to be patient in the passing game. We have to be able to take what they give us initially and pop when they give us the opportunity. Again, very rarely is a Dan Quinn defense the pre-snap read and the post-snap snapshot match. It's going to be something different, okay? So you have to be patient when throwing the ball against this team. All right, physical linebacker play. Okay, we know about Bobby Wagner, okay? But Bobby Wagner can be exploited a little bit. He's a little bit older now. He's very good against the run, but we can exploit him against the pass, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. Another thing we need to take a look at, all right? Just like I was saying that the pre-snap look and the post-snap snapshot don't match, they use that to their advantage by blitzing. So we got to be a heads up, and we got to be really in our playbook. This offensive line and Ashton Jeanty need to really be on their game this week because even though Dedrick Wise is out, they can still put a lot of pressure on us with their blitzes, and they're going to blitz us. All right, enough of Dan Quinn and his defense. What does this offense need to do? Okay, number one, it's going to be the same thing I say every single week. We have to get Ashton Jeanty more involved. whether it be the run game, the screen game, passing him the ball to the backfield. We have to be able to get Ashton Jeanty more touches and more involved in this offense. I don't care about spreading it around. Okay, now I'm not saying it to force it to people, but we have to feed our best offensive players. Who are our two best offensive players? Well, the best running back we have is Ashton Jeanty. All right. And the best receiver we have, well, pass catcher, is going to be Brock Bowers. We have to feed these two guys. We have to. This is something that I understand that we have other guys that can hurt. Yes, Jacoby Myers is a great player. I love his game. But your bread and butter, okay, your ham and eggs, whatever you want to call it, your foundation offensively is Ashton Jeanty and Brock Bowers. Don't screw around. Don't play games. Get the ball to your guys that make the most plays. And those are the guys that are the playmakers on your team. All right, so we're going to take a listen to offensive coordinator Chip Kelly and see what he has to say about the game coming up against the Commanders, their injuries, and how to exploit it. This is what Chip Kelly had to say.
Tom's involvement with me is I spent a lot.
I wouldn't expect it.
Happy birthday. Afternoon. Right. Afternoonish. We're after 12, yeah, so afternoon.
If there was talk on the broadcast on ESPN about Tom Brady's involvement and talking, with you during the course of the week, was that within the proper context, do you feel, or anything taken out of context with that in terms of his involvement?
Well, I don't know what was said on the broadcast because we don't watch the games, but Tom's involvement with me is I spent a lot of time just talking football with him, but it's not on we don't talk about game plans we spent a lot of time over the summer, a couple Zooms. He was traveling all over the place. I was away, and we would just talk ball. What did you like against this? So really, when I use Tom, and I just use him as a resource of, hey, when you faced a Mike Zimmer type defense, what did you like protection wise and play wise? But on a weekly basis, he's not game planning with us or talking to us. I know the week of the Patriots game, I actually heard from him in the morning of the game. He sent me a text saying good luck in the opener. Touch base after the game. That was it. And then, I knew he was coming into this game. He sat in the box when we played San Francisco, I think, in the preseason game, but he doesn't talk to the coaches when he's up there. I think he's watching football. But in terms of weekly game plans, that's not a collaboration that we do. He's also a busy guy, so I haven't even thought of using him to do that, and I don't even think you can. So, our staff does all that. But he's been a guy that I can talk football with, just shooting it about, hey, have you ever faced a two-trap defense or the inverted Tampa 2 that everybody's running out? If you ever see, what was your best thoughts about that? Things like that. But we don't talk game plan at all or any of that stuff in terms of on a weekly basis. So.
When you look at the film, just from a run blocking standpoint, what do you think you guys can clean up on?
Yeah, every play has its own individual entity to it. So on this play, all five guys blocked it right. Ashton hits it. The second play of the game, they blitzed off the front side edge, and we blocked it up perfect. Ashton got to 12-yard gain, ran through the safety. Unblocked player was the safety and ran through him and made a play. So I think you have to look at the individual plays. Sometimes it's a one-person breakdown. Did they step with the right foot? Did they get their hand placement in the right spot? It's a combination of all of those things when you take a look at it. But I think in the game from a run standpoint, I think what people have to realize is we were down 17-6 at half. Our first drive of the second half was a 20-play drive, and we came away with 3 because we had a penalty in the red zone. But then after that, we were in 2-minute mode, so we didn't run the ball as much as we did the week before. The week before, we were up, so we ran the ball more. So usually when you're up in the second half, you're running the ball more because you're running clock. If you're down, you're throwing the ball more. So when you look at, the run-pass breakdowns by game, it's really what is the situation that presents itself. And we also had, I think, 8 passes right at the end of the first half because we had actually 2 2-minute drives in that portion of it too. So that sometimes can skew the numbers because you're not running the ball in 2-minute situations. And I think after that drive, when we got the ball back, there was 8 and change to go, and it was a 20-9 game. So it was 11-point score, and it was a 2-score game. So we kind of went back to 2-minute mode at that point in time. So you're going to throw the ball a little bit more in those situations.
In regarding to Geno, he's someone who has the utmost confidence in himself that he can make any throw on the field. Mm-hmm. What are those conversations like where you kind of have to tell him hey, you can't keep forcing the ball into double coverage or triple coverage as much as he did on Monday night?
Yeah, I think the one to Jacoby, I think it was an accuracy on the back shoulder, was the right throw in that coverage. The defender had his back turned, but I think he probably wanted to locate that better. The other one, he was scrambling out of the pocket, and I think he was just trying to throw it up. You kind of hope sometimes in those situations there's a bunch of people down there, but you're going to get a PI. We're in a 2-minute situation, so I don't think he was forcing the ball into coverage or anything from that standpoint. So.
Robbie, in that, I think it was a 2-minute drill, where, obviously flashed.
Yeah.
Is he starting to? Is that role?
He is, and I think there's a role for all of those guys, and I think you have to look that it's not just a 1-game season; it's a 17-game season. So, your ability to keep everybody fresh. You're thinking short term because you're playing games, but you're also thinking long term. You have 3 running backs up on game day, and so you got to be able to kind of distribute that. I think we felt as a staff, Ashton played 54 snaps the week before, and that was a little heavy. So how do we use that? And Dylan's done a great job. Dylan's great in protection. Dylan does a great job as a receiver coming out of the backfield. So he handled the 2-minute for us, and then Zeus handled some of the third down stuff for us. Just so you're trying to spread those carries out, or really not those carries out, because it doesn't matter if it's a run or a pass, but you're trying to spread out the amount of snaps in a game. If you have 3 running backs up and one guy's playing 55, and another guy's playing 3, and another guy's playing 2. Over the course of the season, that guy's going to get worn down, and by the time you get where's our back? Well, we ran him out by game 8. So, I think you have to look long term. Last year actually, when at Ohio State, we had 2 great backs, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Junkins, and both of them ended up rushing in a 16-game season because we played in the playoffs through. They were both 1,000-yard rushers, but neither of them ever had 20 carries in a game. Over the course of the season, we knew from the beginning of the season to the end of the season that we need to protect these guys, and that if you could have seriously said, hey, let's give it to Travion 30 times in this game, and he would have had a hell of a game and done some other things. But what are the long-term effects of that, too? So I think you kind of have your eye on the game that you're in right then. And we have total confidence in both Zeus and Dylan when they get in a game that they're going to do things with the ball, and they both did good things when they get their opportunities too.
Were you always cognizant of that? I mean, I know analytics has come into the game. Was that something that you had to be talked into, or did you?
No, we've always been that. I think if you, especially when you get to the NFL, I've always said that cut down day when you come out here, you have 90 guys in camp, and you come out on cut down day, and you're like, where is everybody? We had 13 receivers, and now we have 5. And so now you're saying, all right, rep wise, what do we do here, and how are we conscious about that? And I think it comes up all the time. You would love for Brock Bowers to play every play. You would love for Ashton Jeanty to play every play. But if you play Brock and Ashton or any of those guys every play in every game, by the time you get to game 8, you're not going to have guys left. Because there's a certain amount of plays. In basketball, it's called load management. It's not. We're not sitting out games here, but I think you have to be conscious of over the course of 17 games. If some guy's carrying the ball 30 times a game, they only have so many carries in a season in them, and if you're gonna waste them, not waste them, but if you're using them early, then it's gonna hurt you late. So there tries to be a balance, and when you have depth, you have balance. There's some teams that don't have depth, so this guy's the guy because there's a huge drop off. When you have some depth, it's beneficial to make sure, because even in games where you're not getting 60 snaps, you're getting 70 snaps and 80 snaps. Well, if you didn't take him out in the first and second quarter, by the time you get to the fourth quarter, he's dead. And when you really need him. So you got to kind of, over the course of the game, you're hoping that you're getting in that 60 to 70 range. So how do we distribute those snaps? And that's really what Dylan's doing with those guys, and he handles all those substitutions. So.
Talking about usage, a guy like Dante Thornton, who Geno is continuously trying to find down the field, trying to make something happen with. How important is it, do you feel, to keep him involved in the game plan as much as he is to make sure that he's getting those reps?
I think it's important to keep all 5 guys involved in the game plan. You can't specifically just throw to one guy, because then defenses are going to start to double that one guy and try to take that away. So, you got 5 eligibles on every play, and at some point in time you got to get it to him. And I think when we hit him on the shallow cross, he did an unbelievable job on third down and almost slipped out of the diving tackle by the safety, and that would have been an even bigger gain for him. But you saw his effectiveness against the Patriots, and I think the way it's going to be as the season expresses itself, there's going to be games where Jacoby's the leading receiver and Brock's the leading receiver, and then they may try to do some things to try to take him away, and that's when Tuck and Dante and the other guys have to step up. Mike Mayer, Mike did a really nice job, especially in the New England game, especially on third down, made some real critical third down conversions for us and got us into field goal range at the end of the game. So, again, you're going to need all of your skill guys. You're going to need all 3 tight ends. You're going to need all 3 running backs. And you're going to need all 5 receivers that are up on game day to contribute to that.
From one New Hampshire Wildcat to another, how has your impression of Dylan changed from the day you got here to what you see of him right now?
Well, I don't think my impression has changed at all. When I got here, you could just tell he had an amazing work ethic. You could tell all the players on the team really respected him because of how he takes care of himself in the weight room, how he attacks the meeting room, how he attacks special teams. So, and I had heard all about him. He was a superstar at the FCS level and at New Hampshire, and rightly so, because he's a heck of a football player. But when I got here, I kind of expected what I saw, and that the guy has got an amazing work ethic to go along with a lot of talent. Like, I think he can continue to play in this league for a long time because he embraces any role you give him. Like, there's nothing too big or too small for him. You want him to be on special teams and rush a punter, then he'd love to do that. You want him to be a kick returner, he'd love to do that. You want him to be a third down back, he'd love to do that. If we told him he was going to go, hey, we're going to switch in, you're going to play defense now, I'd be like, all right, where do you want me to play? I mean, he's got that type of mindset. So, you need guys like that. He's a glue guy on this team, and I think all teams need people like Dylan on their team.
How unique is that connection that you have with him on a personal level with the New Hampshire?
Yeah, I wasn't there with him. I mean, we both went to the same school, and I know his coaching staff really well, and I know how fondly they thought of him. But I really, the first time I met Dylan was when I got here.
Insights of the defensive staff about Marcus? Yeah,
he's a stud football player and an even better human. I mean, he's one of the more special people I've had an opportunity to meet in my life. He's a class act. He's a hell of a player, and he's also a class act. And, if Jayden can't play and Marcus can, then these guys know him. He was here. Craig Olson coached him. Ole knows him really well. Ole's coached him at the professional level. I had him at the collegiate level. So we got the utmost respect. And I know, people, and I think Jayden's an unbelievable player. I saw Jayden play in high school, and I played against him in college too, and he's an amazing player. You're talking about two guys that were both Heisman Trophy winners, two guys that were both the second pick in the draft, and there's a reason for that. So, that drop-off is not it's something for our defensive guys that they're very conscious of that. So. You had one more?
I know only one snap hit the ground, but did you notice any issues with the consistency of the snap?
Just the one that, and I don't know. I don't know if Jordan thought he was under because it looked like it hit him directly in the butt, like he thought maybe he was under. So it could have been a communication issue, but those are critical. Where the ball is located when you're snapping the ball is always critical, and it's something that Jordan works on all the time. And I think that was just a one-off in that situation. Thanks, guys.
Okay, this is starting to get silly. All right, this is starting to really annoy me because it's not just about not running the ball with Ashton Jeanty. We're not running the ball at all. I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying to stay calm, but it's just a ton of nonsense being talked right now, okay? Because you get Ashton Jeanty, 11 carries. Now, we're not going to count Geno Smith's carries because those were scrambles, right? Now, if you take away the scrambles from Geno Smith, we ran the ball 14 times, and one of those was a reverse to Trey Tucker. So a running back running the ball was 13 times in the entire game. 13. And I don't want to hear this nonsense about, well, we were in a 2-minute drill here and 2-minute drill there. Yeah, you were down, 20-6, but you had the entire second half. You had like a quarter and a half to still run your offense. On top of that, you saw that your quarterback was forcing the ball down the field, number one. On top of that, you saw how they were playing against you and that you had to switch up, and they were basically daring you to beat them over the middle and with the run game. So I don't want to hear about, well, we can't wear this guy out and that guy out. Yeah, you have so much confidence in Zamir White as a runner, you gave him 2 carries. That's how much we got the utmost confidence in our running backs. You gave them 2 carries. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Okay, look, I love the Raiders, right? I do this because I'm like 10 toes deep in Raider Nation, but I'm not going to put up with any nonsense. That's for damn sure. And this is absolute rubbish. It's garbage. It's junk. Okay, because we can't accept this. If we're going to win games, we have to be able to run the ball effectively. If you don't want to give the ball a ton to Ashton Jeanty because you don't want to wear him out, they give it to somebody else, okay? Raheem Mostert hasn't been active for any of these games. You got Zamir White out there, and you don't give him the ball. Somebody's got to run the ball. We have to. I don't understand why we don't take a look at when Geno Smith was the most successful and what the teams did. We're not running the ball effectively, and that's what's affecting our passing game. We got away with it because the Patriots, I don't think were ready for us in the secondary with the weapons that we had. I think they underestimated us a little bit. We need to take a look at what they did the next game. They scored 33 points, right? They won. So they're not a junk team. They have the same record as we do. If we want to go ahead and win not just this game, but we want to win more in the future, we have to run the ball more. Enough of this nonsense about, well, we're in 2-minute and this and that. Chip Kelly, he's just being a little bit stubborn right now, and I'm telling you right now, Pete Carroll is not going to put up with this. He's not going to put up with running the ball 14 times, and one of those was a reverse to a receiver. So really only 13 times running the ball in the run game and throwing it 43 times. That's not going to work for Pete. Another thing is we have to minimize the turnovers of Geno Smith. That's why I'm getting so I'm desperate right now, because I know if we have Geno Smith go out there and throw the ball another 40 times, he's going to turn the ball over again. Not because he's a bad quarterback, but because we're putting him in those situations where we can throw after throw after throw. 25 carries the first game. That was pretty solid. Okay, that was pretty strong. I like that. That's a good number. But basically 13 in the second game, that just can't happen, man. That just can't happen. It's really frustrating, and it's a really big bummer because I had high expectations of this team being able to be more fluid on offense with the experience of Chip Kelly. And it just sounds like Chip Kelly's going to find any excuse to air the ball out when we all thought him and Pete Carroll were both running coaches. You know what else is frustrating? Not hitting a parlay. That's a bummer. That's why it's cool to use MyBookie, because MyBookie doesn't just have action on games. They also have a lot of casino games you can play, pass the time, a little blackjack here, a little roulette there. It's really fun games that you can all play on their app. MyBookie is the only app that I use because they got the best odds, the best games. And if you sign up using the promo code SOTO, that's SOTO, my last name. If you use SOTO when you sign up, they're going to give you the bet back bonus. Now, what's the bet back bonus? Okay, the bet back bonus is when you sign up and use the promo code SOTO and you deposit at least $50 up to $500, MyBookie is going to match your deposit in a bet back bonus. You can use that bet back bonus to bet, and if you lose, well, guess what? It's not real money. It was the bet back money. And if you win, you actually get the winnings. So if you want to support the channel, if you want to support me, if you want to help me out, and you want to get a little bit of action on the side, go ahead and try MyBookie, man. I think it's great. I think you guys are going to really like it. Now, you got to be over 21 and make sure it's available in your area. And if you have a little bit of an issue, go ahead and talk to somebody. This is for entertainment purposes only. Dont'e Thornton is going to be a weapon. He's going to be a guy that we're going to rely on for the deep passes, for big plays downfield. But you can't just throw him into the fire like that. You're going to crush the guy's confidence, and you can pump a guy up as much as you want. If they're not having success on the field, it's going to be a slower roll, man. If you're going to force the ball to a guy, okay, force it to Brock Bowers, right? That's the guy you force it to, because you've seen him play and you've seen him make plays regardless of triple team, double team, any kind of bracket coverage. Doesn't matter. He's going to win those 50-50s. He's going to win those 20-80s. Brock Bowers has to have a big game. Okay, when Brock Bowers has big games, that means we're attacking the defense through the middle. This is something that's going to be very important because the linebackers that the Commanders have are really run focused. Okay, now Bobby Wagner is an excellent linebacker. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but he's not quite as quick as he was in coverage when he was younger. And I think Brock Bowers can exploit that, and pretty much anybody else they put on him. So I think it should be a big game with Brock Bowers. He's a week removed from that knee injury. I think he's going to be a lot more fluid. We have to attack these linebackers up the middle to give ourselves a little bit more running lanes to run the ball as well. It's going to be something that's going to be really big. And I know Pete Carroll wants to run the ball. So this is what Pete Carroll said on his presser earlier yesterday.
The first question
Yeah. Hit it.
Jayden Daniels, but on a trip like this, is it more about you guys rather than those guys? I mean, obviously, it has to be
we know
them
what
as
you
well.
guys know. We've read what you've read. We'll see what happens. DQ finalizes. I don't know that right now, but regardless, yeah, it doesn't change anything for us at all. And we've talked about both guys playing all week long, and we've looked at film of both guys all week long. So. That's what they're dealing with. Yeah, we have to get out there and get our game right and make sure that everybody's got their head in the right direction, and we're going and playing a great football game. This is a winning football club, and Danny's turned it around in no time. Had a great season last year, and so they've got a winning mentality, and they're going to be hard as heck at home. So that's all. We need to go play our game. That's the challenge.
When you didn't turn on the film watching Marcus in this offense, how do you think that they utilized his talents?
They looked very similar. They did the same plays, same style. He's a runner. He's run all through his career. Jayden is a fantastic all-around athlete. Well, so is Mariota. So we would think Marcus would do all of the same stuff as we've seen on film, from throwing the ball down the field to keeping it and all the rest, and scrambling, all of that.
What challenges does someone like a Debo Samuels presents?
Yeah, Debo, we've played against Debo for a lot of years and have great respect for his game. He's really physical. He's more physical than most players at that position. And they'll get the ball in his hands. They'll give him chances to do things. We know that that's going to happen. So we just have to be alert and make sure that we don't leave him unattended to. But I have great respect for him because he's so physical. And he plays that way with great tempo and speed and also a lot of respect.
Jackson got back to practice yesterday. Is that a full go on Sunday?
It looks, yeah, he made it through today, and yesterday was fine, so he is a full go for the game.
Pete, just like when you look at this roster, you have like guys like Devin White, Jamal Adams, even like your quarterback Geno Smith. Guys have I would say have something to prove or been doubted on throughout at some point in their career. Just like from the mental standpoint, how do those guys kind of help in the locker room?
I think it feels like a common thread kind of that runs throughout our club, that we have guys that come in here with a chip on their shoulder for whatever their reasons and their background. I feel the same way myself, and I feel like we were relating really well because that's what we feel like. And so I love the mentality. They've got something to prove, and they're willing to work for it. That's the first thing we're looking for. These guys are going to come in here and work and get buy into what we're doing and fight with us along the way. And we're very fortunate to have guys like E-Rob and guys like Jamal and Pratt and Chin. All of these guys across the board have it. And Devin is a really good example of that. Devin White. I've always sought those kinds of players, guys that have something to prove. And so I feel very, very lucky to have these guys on our club. And as we're building it and putting it together, I think it's going to show through as a real strength of our club.
You said that you've shared that sentiment, the chip on your shoulder. Is that something new for you, or is that something that you kind of felt throughout? I was in Los Angeles when you were hired at USC. And
I've been fired a bunch. I've been through it. And I didn't take any of them well, and so, but that's just part of it. There's things about my personal past that I felt like I had something to prove since I was a little kid. So, we have common ground there with our players, and so I think it is a driver, it is a motivator, it inspires people to do things, and so I like being around those kinds of guys.
You've had a very successful formula traveling east over the years. Obviously, 2 weeks ago, you were able to do it very well. Is there anything about bouncing back doing it twice in 3 weeks? Does that change anything?
No, it's just a good part of the challenge. No, I love it. No, that's great.
What can you say about the development of the team so far? Obviously, it's very early in the season, but how are the guys coming along in a general sense?
In general, we're doing really well. Everybody's on board. They're talking the talk. We're supporting one another, both sides of the ball across, throughout our locker room. It feels really good. We have to play better. We have to play efficiently and not give the football to other teams and make it easy on them. You make it easy when you're in red zone and the ball's on the 6-yard line and then we got to bring it on back. It's first or second and 20 or whatever the heck it was. We have to play really well, and so there's part of it is what drives us, and that part of this team is strong. Now we got to make it come to life in the way that we perform on game day.
Pete, what added factor, if any, does a quarterback playing against his former team do to a game like Marcus is facing his former team in the Raiders?
But you got to ask him. I don't know what he feels about it. I don't know. But in general, we all remember where we come from, and it inspires us. Usually, and I know that Marcus is a great competitor, and he's always been, and I'm sure there's a little something in there. We try not to let it be a distraction, but there's something there. So we think that's quite possibly what he would say.
Pete, you guys in the last 2 games have allowed a combined 6 points in the second half. When you go back and watch the film, what jumps out to you on tape defensively in the final 2 quarters of games?
A couple things. One is the belief that the guys have that's really strong, that the game ain't over and doesn't matter what the score is, and that we know we are trying to be a great finishing team. That's what we're set out from the beginning, knowing that all these games come down to the end so much of the time. I think it's also a sign that of really keen adjustments, and I think Patrick has done a marvelous job in both games to get us turned in the right direction, to take advantage of what just happened, and then also use the game plan in a way that allows us to make it hard on the opponent in the second half. I'm really proud of that stat coming out of the chutes here, to be able to play that good at the end of the games. And the one of the field goals was kind of a desperation thing at the end. So I know that's a sign of the connected feeling that the fellas have, but also the connection from the staff and the communication that's happening. So it's a strength.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Pete Carroll saying that the belief is strong in the defense, and that's true. We need to get the belief strong in this run game and strong in this offensive line. This is something I've been beaten to death, and I'm going to move on, all right? On top of that, we need to make sure that we limit the turnovers with Geno Smith. How do we do that? We give him a better plan to throw the ball. Don't give him so many options to don't go deep all the time. We have to be able to move the ball against this zone-heavy defense that Dan Quinn is going to employ against us. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Really appreciate you guys watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free. And it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel besides doing nothing, just watching the video. On top of that, we have the Shield Society. What is the Shield Society? Okay, Shield Society is membership, $5 a month. If you can do it, great, do it. If not, or you don't want to, that's fine. I'm still going to give you a video every single day. Now, here's some of the perks of the Shield Society. What you get is the videos right away. As soon as I upload them for the next day, you guys get them. Doesn't matter. Get it before anybody else. On top of that, you get the live watch party with me, and it's members only, just like the jacket. Nobody else other than Shield Society members are going to be in that chat. On top of that, you get to be on the show yourself if you want. I'm going to have the link in the description and everything. You can hop on, give your analysis, give comments, say what's up to the boys, whatever you want. It's just us, nobody else. I'm never going to release to anybody else. On top of that, I need you guys to do one thing for me, okay? Tell your friends, tell your haters, tell your mamas, tell everybody. Raiders versus the world is the greatest thing going in Raider Nation today. All right, guys, that's my time. Till next time, everybody. Peace.
Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.